Nice.
59% though of you at home believe that Astralis is going to be winning here against MNM, but if we do look back at what we saw yesterday, Astralis also 60% favored against Elevate. Now that one didn't really work out as well, so let's see who's going to be able to start off Oregon strong here and who gets to continue their fight to potentially make it to playoffs. Because again, whoever loses this, they aren't 100% out. There is still a statistical anomaly that they can make it through. It's just going to be very unlikely, very minimum that they will make it. So with the bans, Finka and Flores gone. Finka, of course, getting banned a lot this tournament so far, at least during our games, almost 100% ban rate.
I think that's the thing about it. It was one of those fun statistics we talked about, is that there are regions that ban it more. You see it a few times. I think EU and APAC have the highest ban rate on Finka. NA had the lowest, because everyone sort of went, well, we can all sort of play around it. It's not that they're used to not playing with it, but it's a fair removal, because we know NA are real good. really, they're major winningly good. Yeah. With a Finka, SI winningly good with LMGs. So pulling that out, it's not going to entirely harper them, but you don't want to, it's like going against, Anaton on a Monty. You just don't want to take the risk.
Why don't want to deal with it, right? I mean, it's a giant LMG. It has heals. It has grenades. She also has, like, the Gon 6 to go through. So there's just so much utility you just take out. And if they want to play an LMG, fair enough. You basically force them onto the Zofia, which also has 2 stuns and 2 impact grenades she can use. But it's probably a bit less problematic to deal with for some of these teams. Now, the other operators we saw getting banned are Flores, the very first, the second attacking operator to be removed. Of course, the RC Retiros are quite crucial in Elbow, for example, getting rid of that shield. Also for the top floor, getting rid of the trophy player that might be out there, or maybe even Attic. So Flores does make a lot of sense. Valkyrie to be removed next. A lot of information game off the board. We saw that yesterday to become a theme as well. And Azami, the very last one to be off. Of course, very new defining operator that has entered the fray, but we haven't quite seen the round defining moments yet, but we do see it in the mid game be absolutely crucial, because suddenly attackers just walk into a maze and it's like, how do we deal with this?
Now we're just having a very quick tech pause. We will be back in the game as soon as possible. It's I guess kind of good that it happens now before the players start to get into it. They obviously will be into it as quickly as we can. But I'm just going to get everything double-checked and ready to rock and roll. There's some secrets I'm not going to talk about too much, because we can actually see the site. We can see some of the operator selection. We'll keep you on a precipice.
What do you mean secrets?
Let me say there's a particular pick in the bottom middle of my screen right now.
I can see,
I'm hoping it gets. It's actually the only one that isn't locked in. Technically, obviously, attackers can repick.
Yeah,
but there's something in the hands of DP Fire I'm a bit curious about to see if that sticks around.
Something that could be providing us with some entertainment in that first round very quickly.
Yeah. Let's also talk, and this is one that I am going to share because it's something that I think it's worth mentioning because they were played so well yesterday, is J9O on the Zofia. J9O is going to be picking up the Zofia pretty much all the time, you assume, and they have earned the LMG. They have shown great skill yesterday. As I said, they are the only player in this lobby that achieved over a 1.0 rating. The second closest was Tyrant. Solotov even on a 0.93, and then Tyrant on a 0.92 across this tournament so far. So across yesterday's Playday, we've obviously, both teams have played 2 games. So that is the data that we have. They didn't really go their way, but it's always, you got to bring the heat that you brought yesterday.
Yeah, you got to bring what you have and see if you can extend on that, of course, because yesterday wasn't quite enough. They need to make that step up, either of these 2 teams. And whoever does that is most likely coming out to be the victor here. Now, we do have a slight tech pause. For those of you that are wondering why we do not see the game yet, it happens. It will be fixed momentarily, and after that we can get going again. So let me just pull up the rest of the statistics that we've had from yesterday. Anything that you fancy that you want to know about?
Statistics?
Yes.
What do you, like, can I just ask for anything?
I can try and get it. I don't know if I will, but...
Oh, okay.
I can do my best.
No.
No?
I'm
Okay.
happy. I'm
You
satisfied.
happy?
Yeah.
Well,
Do you want anything?
I'm just going to toss out random things.
I
then.
have my own statistics.
What statistics do you have?
I don't know if I can share them with you. No, okay. Here's a
If
fun
you tell me, you
statistic.
have to kill me.
I want to... what do I want to test you on? What do I want to stress you on?
I can pull up average map sites for this tournament so far.
Give me some average Oregon map stats. Give me some numbers on the size of the Oregon.
Throughout the tournament, it has been played a total of 4 times so far. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to know how many rounds have been played in Oregon so far?
I mean, I don't...
You can take a guess? It was 4 games.
4 games?
Yes.
Well, I know one was a 7-4.
Okay.
Because we cast that.
Yeah.
So we'll take... 14, 21... We'll go with 38.
38.
Yeah.
It's 47. It's actually quite a bit more.
A little bit longer than I thought. There might be a couple of quick games, but...
The overall defensive win rate was a 62%, which is quite high on the defense, which actually feeds into what we had for Astralis on their Oregon, which is currently a 71% win rate. So slightly above average, which they have.
Yeah.
And of course, not having played it is going to be hard to tell what it will be like. And the best current site is actually tied, but Dorms and Kids has a higher sample size. 67% win rate, shared with Kitchen and Dining, but that was only played 3 times and won twice. So with that being said, it seems like the defense itself has that favor here. And of course, we do know MNM is starting out there, which might mean that MNM can maybe find themselves with the early edge that they need to get themselves back into that rhythm, get themselves back going strong against Astralis.
Wow. We will update you when we know what's going on. There's a little bit of movement inside the game. Okay, we're back in. We are in. Thank you for bearing with us now as we find ourselves finally able to talk about, yes, I said, DB Fire in the hands of a lady who can get into the top floor very quickly.
Yes.
And I throw my mind back to the very first Astralis attack round on Oregon versus Elevate, where they got into the building very quickly. They were putting pressure on eBox Hatch within 30 seconds.
Yeah, they did indeed. And, you know, it's always great when you see that happen, but at the same time, MNM has had the opportunity now to look into that fault as well. And maybe they have something ready to try and deny that. Now, of course, some of these serial laser gates are being set up. You see some of the Goyo canisters to be deployed as well. The hatch for now in meeting is still soft, but surely that will be reinforced. No, okay, never mind. Let's just get blasted out by Solotov. Means that potentially 2 MNM players will be playing up in that first floor.
Oh, are they going to head to the top? They've got the drone there. Users has it. Tyrant has the rotation. They're giving themselves the stretch over Attic. They're making sure they have a presence over all of the top floor. And if they do this, they've got to do it perfect. Neo suffers the firefight, and the drones are rolling their way through. And that shuttle, I said they get to that hatch within 30 seconds. They're a little bit below pace, but they're above the body count there. The first is Astralis's. J90 is trying to apply some flat pressure over the side of Dining towards the back of Nello, who's playing that connection inside the side of Servers and Zulu. Forest, in the meantime, is heading towards the top floor. They want to try and isolate Tyrant as well, and Astralis are wasting no time.
Neo completely caught off guard there. Didn't even bother checking for the drone. Got shot in the back. So a bit odd how that happened there. MNM now finding themselves with a man down. Slowly but steadily, the attic is falling. The top floor is being taken into control. And as the rest of MNM is starting to fall back into the secondary positions, shields are being repositioned as well. And DP Fire will just take down users as well. That was playing in that tower. Was the only Roman left on the side of MNM. And with that now, it's a 5-on-3 fight directly on the site.
Iconic stacked up on the far end of Freezer, looking through the Aruni gates. They know there's going to be a player tucked in on that corner ready to swing, but it's not an easy fight for Nello, and it's even worse. Now he knows he's watched. He only has one option, which is to take a fight. Taking the hurdles and slipping his way all the way past. Iconic's down. Tyrant's got the ping there on the player. He's going to move into Pillar. The smoke to cover a bit of movement either side. Tyrant gets DP Fire, and Nello pops the shotgun, and suddenly they've got themselves a body balance. Can't quite get the SMG to make the full connection. Solotov suffers on the swing. It's Forest. It's Forest getting a double kill either side on Blue. Gonna see if they can stick the kit. Tyrant is all that's left. Cannot find Iconic. And Astralis get the opening round.
Good first round by Astralis, especially that first kill onto Neo. He took some early damage, tried to fall back towards the meeting. Probably didn't expect the sledge to be following him right all the way through that gunfight. And of course, with that drone, with the information, they knew it was safe to go for that swing, and XSET actually hit it right away. get that first kill, take that top floor under control straight away, open up all the hatches they wanted to have open up. And MNM, in the first minute, already lost everything they really had outside of the actual site. So now they decide, you know what, it is time to run it back. Let's try and redo that, because some slight mistakes, some, you know, startup mistakes basically cost them the round there. Neo dying early, losing the big tower stairs early, doesn't help you. So if they've managed to find a bit more of a better balance out there, we might see success to come in from the European team.
Okay, well, I said they might go quick. They did. It was a different quick, and that's what I sort of loved about Astralis yesterday on this map, is it wasn't that they were just throwing themselves in. It was behind the back of drones. It was behind the back of a really good catch on intel. They're able to get those opening 2 kills, and then you see them keep the pressure on. They want this to be a sprint. They want each round to be one where MNM are sort of left sweating, because the longer they can keep that in that uncomfortable position, it's Astralis' game. It's Astralis' pace. There's one. That was all they really were able to get for a little bit, if I recall, yesterday, and then suddenly Elevate started to hit back across the board. Yes, so if they do a second round now, they've already improved on their performance yesterday.
You see him there, the cam not taking it out until the very last moment. You don't want to give away the fact that you're coming, but as some of the fire already pops off, they were aware on the side of MNM. So you can take out that camera as they try and fall back towards that side. More drones fall, but basically a lot of shepherding is being done currently by Astralis. There's only, you know, one person now taken out, dropping through the hatch. Tarn still alive, all the way from above, by the way. So they need to get a drone in to make sure he's actually down. He will not be able to crawl to safety if that will be the case. But 2 members of MNM are setting themselves up to make sure they can go for that pickup and make sure Tarn still lives.
That's it. They didn't want to risk the swing round. They didn't have the clean intel. Users about to have a fight with DP Fire on the back, and, well, they're very much aware. Heavy hitting. The DMR does half the health, and there's the finish. Users gets the opener. Neo is there for some level of support. You can see them pull back away from Freezer. They're not going to risk doubling it down. Sad. Astralis know when to bite, they know when to fight, they know when to reevaluate. Try and find themselves a little bit more of a structure. MNM have that early lead through, and you can see this. The quick pace of aggression, the focus onto the hatches themselves. This one obviously opened. J9O is going to see if he can step in on the back line and try and just hold the rotation, keep the control over the bottom of tower stairs and potentially push pillar.
Of course, Users falling in that back tower for the very first round. This time he gets that kill onto DP Fire, who's playing on the Lion, so E1D is off the board. And also a man advantage for MNM, considering Tyrant was able to be salvaged by the rest of his team. Grenades now starting to come in, though, missing the opportunity of the player onto the actual pillar. Solotov falls. Iconic gets taken out from the angle on top, and that means it is still a man advantage for MNM.
Users hits the hammer back. They take the drop onto E-Box. They're trying to find the player around on the side of pillar. Malusi gets caught out, but there's the catch over from Nello. A swing round, and Users finds his triple and leaves just Shuttle, knocking on the door of the shield. Going to break that, push the position, but Nello takes it before it pops. MNM find the response, find their laundry hold, and now we'll head to a different site.
Knew he had to go a bit aggressive there, indeed, with that grenade popping in. It was the last player, so why not just go for it instead? 1-1, equalize that score. Of course, we just said it, heavily defense-sided so far on the major, 60-ish%. So MNM, you know, they need to get the upper hand here. A 3-3 basically wouldn't be enough to find themselves with the advantage they are looking for. So they hope to get more. And with Astralis winning their very first attacking round, it is a bit worrying. So MNM, they need to make sure that they up the pace. And as they head towards that top 4, I believe we see an extension into the actual kitchen with some mirror windows to ensure that verticality from below, grenades from below, are not going to be playing as big of a deal or as big of a role as normally they would. It could, of course, also mean that you are taking a lot of losses early on from below, from downstairs, if you are unable to keep those mirror windows in check, because Astralis, well, they are going for a slight change of plans. The number gets swapped out towards a Twitch, so the Twitch has the opportunity to try and find themselves in that good spot, in the good opportunity to take out those mirror windows. And by the way, as you just see, there is going to be the playoff probability coming in again from Sprabuni and Raf, and you see a bunch of grey outlines there, and that means that, you know, even if they win here today, they will not be safe depending on how the rest of the day goes. Of course, there's 2 games that you play each day. If they win this one regulation, they basically need to win the next one as well to be safe.
Candela's making a quick approach for the first time here on the side of tower. Nello gets the first drone and is kind of lucky that another Astralis player is in a position. There's one though, J9O finds Tyrant, finds the opener kill, and once again, this Astralis quick-pace game is able to punish MNM, who just don't expect so much, so many places so fast. Solotov stepped up inside Trophy. Hasn't quite been able to find a dig into this game yet. Neither has Neo, but he's playing that sort of backline support. Talking of Nello on the rotate, J9O is just going to leave that flank drone here being watched and caught out. Are they aware of that direct movement? They will be if it comes a little bit later. They've got time though, and we've seen Astralis hold a flank for as long as they need to.
But currently not watching that flank drone here. So Nello all the way up already, manages to find J9O into the back and tries to rotate out now. Of course, the Asher DP fire was close as well, but believe he rotated off all the way before he's now coming in from below, trying to make sure that at least it can strike back. But Nello seems to be aware as he's digging himself in deeper in green.
That's it. He's expecting now this game, and Forest isn't going to risk it. They didn't have the cleanest intel, and Astralis isn't going to act on it. May as well. You can see Shuttle might be rotating a drone a little bit closer to potentially catch off a rotation that Nello does, but with the soft door there on the swing, he's just going to wait. Forrest is going to take it from a slightly different approach, a bit more of a flat firefight where he can jiggle peek doors rather than stairs. There it is. Users has some attention paid towards him. They can try and get into kitchen and play grenades up if they want to. That's sort of the game, but with Nello still loose, they don't want to entirely throw themselves around it. The push comes onto Armory's side, and the stairs, there is nobody, but there sure is an Ash causing some problems.
Yeah, some explosives coming in from below there is going to be creating some of these verticalities that both the defenders and the attackers can use. Users will go down. It seems like Astralis is trying to execute onto the side as they lose a member as well.
Ooh, Solotov and Neo find one apiece. You can see Shuttle went down massively, and Solotov gets the end of it. They were able to get a kill just before that onto Users, but they couldn't quite get the full lockdown. Nello finally finds his head back towards the site, and MNM, they get their second in a row.
Well done by MNM. I mean, I saw a little bit there from MNM what we saw from Elevate yesterday. Nello going up from below these stairs, sees that the space is safe, sees that he's not currently being contested or hunted or anything like that, takes the ground, gets the kill, and instead of falling back towards the side, he decides that, you know what, I can dig in near meeting, I can dig in near green, make sure that there is this pressure here, so if attackers come back to visit this spot, they will be taken out as a result. So well done by MNM there, taking a page out of Elevate's book, of course with that rotation, taking the space and holding onto it because it worked so well against Astralis yesterday. And with that, they find themselves a second round. Now, heading towards a tertiary, and this one is actually the lowest defensive win rate. It was played quite a bit of times, a bit more than the other one, I believe, Meeting Hall Kitchen, 6 times. This will be the 7th. A 50% defensive win rate, so it's literally going to be a coin toss right now. But if MNM managed to win this one as well as we speak, then suddenly they've done a full rotation. And they could be going for a 5-1 or 4-2 scoreline, which is of course what we expect from them if they want to be competitive in this game.
This is the sort of telltale site, isn't it? This is the one where it's not that it could be the little red flag problems, but it spells a bit of danger for Astralis. You're on this tertiary, you're on this place and position where things aren't going to be so easily thread. You're looking at that potentially very aggressive lineup. Shuttle is now the one with the quick zip all the way to the potential top. You've got the Candelas in the pocket of DP5. J9O is now the one on the Lion. They are juggling operators. They're juggling choices quite quick. Make some noise with an E1D. Let's see if Shuttle can make some noise in the face of those players. That gets opened up. The Candelas are going to be the swing through, but Solotov acts fast and gets the heck out of there. There's the movement. There's also the hop in onto the double window. They can't quite find anyone. Users gets one more. He's about to be locked out by there. It is! Everybody, not just a single player. They took the gambit, and the gamble said house wins.
A flawless round coming in from MNM, and I kind of liked what I saw from Astralis, though. They wanted to use the Candela, of course, to blind anybody in there, allowed a Ying to take advantage of that. But as soon as Ying died, Amaru still went in, and, you know, normally it's like, oh, that might be problematic, but I think that was the right choice, because he might be going for that surprise. Unfortunately, MNM ready, though, for all the jump-ins everywhere over the map. They dropped the diffuser first. After that, they were able to shut down the rest of Astralis, and they find themselves on 3 rounds now. A complete rotation, and then on the tertiary side as well. We have to mention it. It is the lowest defensive win rate so far, but with them doing it, they're now heading back towards 2 sides that are a little bit more reliable. Bottom floor first, and MNM, they're on for a potential 5-1 streak here. If they manage to do so, Astralis will have yet another tough game and might find themselves at the eliminated side of things at the end of today.
So yesterday's game,
Yes.
Astralis versus Elevate, they got the first round, and then they didn't get another one. They just need one more to improve. They need one more to break the deadlock. Their fight on their second game versus FURIA, their 2 rounds sort of came towards the end. Came at the very end. Border, very different map. It plays very differently to Oregon. Yep. But they are a team that can still find that little pocket of energy, so they're not opting to take their tactical timeout right now. It was a gamble. A rush always is. You play fast, but there's difference in throwing yourselves into the pit of fire. Here's the fight. And there it is, a very quick, easy catch. J9O is able to take care of Nello, knocked the door, but he didn't quite hear the full audio as he was still opening up the shotgun rotations. They now have the man advantage, and J9O has maybe a bit of surprise, and they're just going to move on out of there, hit the hatch, and don't even play the game.
Neo fell back indeed. He's like, all right, there is someone coming from green. There could be someone coming in from the lobby as well. Don't want to stick around, but a shuttle finds Tyrant. It seems to be all falling apart really quickly here for MNM. The pace that Astralis brings is their strong point. That's how they won the first round. It's how they now have a 2-minute advantage right here. They just need to be a little bit quicker. And I'm not saying rushes, but the hot droning seems to be working out so well for them there. And of course, Nello didn't quite realize that the door had been opened up. He wasn't ready for that gunfight. But it's a second entry to come in as well for the side of Astralis. Now, of course, they do slow down a little bit. There's a minute 45 left on the clock. They need to try and do some preparative work right here before they're going to be able to hit the site directly. But swings are still coming in from the side of MNM. Users almost loses his life. Forrest has jumped into E-Box, but he's completely blind.
There it is. Iconic gets one. DP5 gets another. And there's a flawless for a flawless. Thank you very much. A bit of a response there from the side of Astralis. Hit the pace that they had in the first round. And as I said, they don't need to say their timeout just yet. They know how to bring some of this energy back round. Could still get themselves angled up for an even half. 4-2, it isn't the end of the world either. As I said, it's already an improvement on yesterday. And the pressure now falls onto MNM. Can they lock in one more potential swing round? Dorms is theoretically where they think it could happen. They do not quite trust their laundry, but if we throw ourselves back to Dorms hold, it was sort of built by the start of Nello being loose inside tower, unexpected. Yeah, we know Astralis can drone a game if they know the game they want to drone.
That's it. That hot droning is very aggressive, very effective as well, especially if you have J9O right behind it with one of those LMGs to just continue firing. You saw the effectiveness in that last round, and I kind of hope that Astralis have realized, okay, this works out. This is how we've won both our rounds so far on attack. Maybe we should continue that. Last time around, Astralis, they attack the same side. It's the same setup we're seeing from MNM. There's not really been any changes, considering we see the mirror windows exactly in the same spot. Potentially will be played by Tyrant again as he's out here. Users is here to defend this time. Nello is as well. But what we saw the last time around is that Astralis got such an early pick that the kitchen was instantly out of play. The defenders instantly abandoned it, didn't want to stick around, so those mirror windows really had no use into that single round. And after that was Nello that managed to bring it back. He again is at that bottom floor in the basement. He might be hunted down by Astralis though if they do realize this.
Well, that's it. They've got themselves the chance to drop onto the hatch. It's making sure there's just a player ready to catch the destruction of some of the cams there. No reveal, no play and no place, and there it is. The player ready to catch. DP fire. The slow creep up round. What they want to do is try and apply pressure.
Oh, the feet.
Oh, the feet just tucked around the corner. Doesn't quite know, but Tyrant finds one. J9O gets the lock in. They had the second player ready to pick him up on the rotation. Tyrant is looking for that player, but he couldn't see him with where his aim was set up, looked and locked by the reticule. Here instead, we find ourselves now suddenly a 4 versus 3. MNM, they lose 2 bodies. Iconic is gone on the role of a Thatcher, but, you know, that just means that a little bit might remain locked. With the fact that the wall is soft, they can still get standard breaches. Obviously, there's nothing potentially to entirely lock out the side of Attic if they want that as well. If it's muted, you can just try and pop some destruction from underneath. Instead, they're going to see if they can try and fish for players and drive up white.
Have to be careful here because a prox alarm just went off. There is going to be a Vulcan canister on the top of it. Neo gets 2 grenades, one from below, one vertically. And Shuttle will shut down another player as well. J9O will get that final kill, and Astralis are able to lock it off with a 3-3. And suddenly where it looked like MNM was starting to build some momentum right there, it is Astralis that fights right back. And now having that even half are definitely favored here on Oregon. Going to the defense themselves. 4 rounds is all they need. MNM, they need to do it on the attack now. It is statistically the harder area to be in.
That's it. It's tricky now for MNM. They just needed to thread one more of those to have a little bit more breathing room What can they bring on their attacks? What is the game that they can try and deliver here? Astralis will now get a truer taste of the two sides of their game onto the defense side as well, which we didn't really see in the showdown versus Elevate, but we know what they can be capable of. It's down to MNM to see if they can try and prove otherwise. The start down in basement, a site that currently throughout this matchup, Astralis have the upper hand on statistically anyway.
Yes, that is the best side to be in currently, and if you look at Astralis as well, their win rate on average is higher than we currently have in the tournament, even after what we've seen against Elevate yesterday. That is, of course, over the last 3 months, not just this tournament. So one of them is an NA versus NA game, and the other one was versus the APAC team. But yeah, they need 4 rounds, and statistically, that's what should be able to be gotten at the minimum. But of course, it's all different when you're out here on the major group stage. Suddenly all these games matter, especially after you had such a poor first day. You know that you need to show up now. And every round will matter, because round differential is going to be the first tiebreaker in case of you tying up with that second place. Potentially, it could be the make or break whether or not you continue your major story or not.
Users playing the Nook role to see if they can sneak themselves in the fight onto Shuttle, who has J90 as that swing support onto the side of Dining Door. There is a ping, and there's a J90 gone. Shuttle's just going to get out of there before he's entirely locked out. That window's open. There's a bit of a spray through, but the player hasn't quite gotten the position. Oh, there they are. Just got there at the end. Nello didn't quite get the full lock in, and they've been able to take some control. And a single player out of it far away. Solotov's trying to make an appearance on the Armory Stairs side as well, putting the pressure onto the side of Attic, hoping they can just catch the width of Iconic. He's not going to overextend for now, as Users is actually to suffer next. Top of the white stairs, the pings come out for the player. Users is going to go grenade fishing underneath, but there's a swing round. 2 players, they took the drop on the hatch. They took the drop on the player as well. Shuttle retakes, looks for the fight here onto the final player. They've got another stack up back on the door. Oh, that's an Astralis retake.
A triple kill to come in there from the side of Astralis. Now Forrest will find Shuttle as well. It's only up to Neo all alone. Needs to find 3 kills. 3 more at least, as he has 1 already on the board. He's going to be able to do it. It looks unlikely, but there's a lot of time. DP Fire comes around the corner, just strikes him in the back. And that is going to be Astralis that will still win this round, even though they lost that very first pick, due to the fact that they had such a great retake coming in off that bottom floor to come through. And I believe that a pause is being called. A tech pause is going to be on the board here. So something needs to be fixed real quick, and then we get back into the game. Of course, during this time, the coaches are not allowed to speak to their players. All that will happen is the admins that come in, or maybe the tech crew, to, well, do a real quick cable switch or a keyboard switch, mouse switch, whatever.
Those are technical things.
Yeah, those are technical things.
Those are all technical things.
Yes.
I think one of the things here as well is obviously, regardless of that, that was a really well put together Astralis retake. The technical side of that was just well put. They had the pings, the pressure, the fight came through on the top of red, on the top of white even, first of all. They didn't stick around. Iconic was making sure nobody had the quick slip through. Yeah. But the drop on the hatch, the choice to then go for the 2-body fight, there was, I think it was, a player was already ready. I'm not sure if it was DP Fire or, I'm trying to remember now. Either way, there was another player ready there to take that second reaction. As soon as they swung around, it wasn't just that they had the 1 body come down from the hatch, but the second made a showing as well. And then from then on, to have the energy to push onto showers, to keep going.
They realized who the last player was, and they were like, it's better to just hunt him down now when we are 2v1 before any backup arrives, right? So you have 1 going through the kitchen dining, you have 1 going through the showers hallway. You will be pinching him at some point sooner rather than later. And if you time it well, you're always going to come out on top. Yes, you might lose 1, but you never lose the both of them. And instead, they lost none of them, which is also great. So Astralis able to, after they lose that very first player, to turn it around due to some aggression over the bottom floor. Not enough communication out there for MNM. Maybe not the expectation that such an aggressive push would be to come down. Finds ourselves in that situation, where Astralis now leads. On the defense, needing 2 more rounds for a point, 3 more to get the full 3.
Well, it's just, as we said, a quick problem with one of the computers, and hopefully we'll be back in sooner rather than later. As pointed out, the coaches are not allowed to communicate. This is just, the players can talk as much as they want. They're always allowed to do that, and it's a moment, I think, for Astralis to sort of say, well, it's going well. We're 1 step ahead of the curve. We're able to put some of this kind of balance in, we're looking towards, I guess, what could be our first set of points. They want the full 3. Anything less than that, it's not that it's not good enough, but it won't be good enough for them because they still want to top this group.
That's what you're saying. It won't be that it won't be good enough, but it might just well be not good enough if you look at it from the end of the day, right? So you got to be looking at it from the perspective of we are on 0. There is no more room for error if we want to make it out. And error is not picking up any of these points. And I know that's rough to say. Yeah. And I know I said 10 points is generally what you need to be confirmed to some extent.
Or 13 if you want to be 100% confirmed.
13 if you want to be 100%.
Is like you're, okay, we're kind of there. Like, we're comfy.
But that either means 3 wins and an overtime loss, or 2 overtime wins with 2 regular wins. So it comes down to the fact that, you know what, we just need to win.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of the blend of everything here is MNM feel the same pressures. And you know, there's no sort of 2 ways about it. They know how hard this group was. They know how hard it was to get here, the vicious sort of fight to find themselves alongside this stage. And, you know, how many teams that they didn't leapfrog but fought past. It wasn't that they were gifted it, and they almost stumbled at the very end. It took until the final Playday for them to cement it.
This is kind of the thing about MNM, though. They came in with a bit of a bad form. And yeah, I don't mean to harp on them, but they had a great form in the first half of the season, and after that it just slowed down. They still qualify for the major. You kind of hope that they get back out of it, back into that first part of the stage form that they had. But we haven't really seen that. We haven't really seen that same MNM yet. And of course that could still change. And as we do head back into the game just momentarily as the fist bumps are being handed out, Astralis currently are favored. They need less rounds to win. They're on the best side to be on for this particular map, at least so far in the major. And of course the team is all showing up today. Yesterday we saw some struggles from some of the key players on Astralis, not being able to pick up kills up until like deep into the second half. Not the case now. Shuttle on 7, Iconic on 3, DB Fire on 3, J90 will be on 6, and Forest, of course, on 5. It's not much different on MNM. It's just Nello that hasn't currently any on the scoreboard. That's because he rejoined due to the tech issue. So don't worry, he does have some kills on the board.
He has killed people. He has died.
He has. Yes.
I don't know if he's assisted people.
I have no clue either. Probably has.
I would assume, as an IGL, he has assisted people, whether it's the score that's tracked. You would assume.
You would assume so.
You would assume.
Not everything gets tracked either.
No. Okay. Back into it, though.
Oh, that's dangerous, DP.
Yeah, that is very dangerous. DP Fire going for a very late reinforcement. Neo's going to try and cut off some pressure here onto shower corridor window. DP Fire stepped up on the door. They almost caught 2 players as well. A second late reinforcement. That should have been punished.
Yeah, the first one could have been punished. The second one definitely should have been punished there. So a bit of an oversight from MNM. And of course, Forrest was there to go for a bit of support. You couldn't have gone in deeply, but you can still try and go for a bit of a pre-fire. He will be eventually taken out, though. Not quite sure from where. Most probably Solotov that was inside a split. Now taken out by Iconic, which means DP Fire can be confirmed, but Users is already going on the chase.
That's it. They're going to have to pay attention, though, towards the swing onto the door. Open. There it is. The grenade goes deep. It forces the player off, catches the kill. There is going to be a bit of a rotation. Iconic's out of there. He's not going to keep that fight going. Neo's putting some pressure onto shower corridor, but there's Forrest. Swings round, finds the kill onto Tyrant. Users has kept moving. The Nook wants to be a bit of a surprise factor underneath that hatch, but surprise is a game they play really well. Do they hear the reinforcement coming through? Users does! Catches out Iconic just on the slip pass. They were able to at least punish that one round, but it's a 3 versus 3. They still need to put the pressure onto the site. There's still a lot of work left to be done.
There's only 3 players left to do so as well. You lack a bit of that verticality now, considering you lost your buck. We're on that top floor. Normally Sledge can also do it, but not all the way up to the roof. So Neo only having that grenade to play with here to potentially isolate a single player out of Astralis and try and knock him out. But they're playing on this hard ground, on this concrete. It's going to be very difficult to get a grenade in from below.
Nello with those Candelas wants to try and apply some pressure here. The buzz of the Banshee isn't going to entirely stop them, but they're going to see if they can try and play some grenades underneath that opener. Shuttle Doesn't quite take the full knock. The explosion wasn't quite the full catch. Neo and Nello rolling out some pressure at the top of White and the back of the bunks. They're going to see if they can just pop the kit down in and amongst the blind on the far side. The cover comes through. Nello stopped up just to get that last little bit onto Shuttle. He made sure he stopped, but there's Nello now down. Forest is the one that instead gets that swing round a little bit too wide. 30 seconds. The players are in a tricky spot. Users gets caught out. The only one standing isn't for very long. Astralis locked down across the side of bunks. 5-3.
Nella made the right choice there, first of all, to get off, try and take that gunfight, finds himself the first. However, a player inside of the bedroom able to shut him down as he does so. And that is going to be the part where it fell apart for MNM. But you also got to go and look back at the very start of that round where they were unable to deal with the man reinforcing. Yes, of course, the injury came through after a quick push through the little split area into meeting. Came out quite clutch, but you lost your play right afterwards. And you didn't really gain anything from it. Mostly lost it. And Astralis now on 5, needing only 2 more rounds to find themselves victorious, find themselves with 3 points, and have to go to the tertiary site. Again, to meeting towards the kitchen. We have seen this one won by MNM on the defense, but it was mostly due to a shutdown rush that Astralis wanted to go for. It wasn't really like a methodical clear that Astralis tried to accomplish when they were on the attack. So let's see if MNM will bring that instead. The operators definitely look like it. You do not see any operator that tells you, okay, this is going to be a rush, this is going to be quick pace. Always the opportunity, of course, that some of the Gon 6s in mind, but no Finka, of course, banned, no Lion on the board. Operators like that, just missing, so this will be methodical.
Has to be. One more round and Astralis has guaranteed themselves a point. 2 more, and they've guaranteed MNM at the bottom of the board at the turn of the half with only a 3% chance at that moment forward of getting out of groups. Just going to burn through the Mossy drone and take it out pretty much instantly, and now see if they can try and put pressure here across the top. You do need this vertical control, especially if you're going to try and lock down maybe pressure over kitchen itself. It's one of those sort of quick plays here. Forrest is about to be on the wrong end of an explosive, but he wants to move in. Trick learnt from Elevate. He's very quick. The drone gives a bit of a reveal, but nobody's there to punish it. That's another moment where Astralis, if it was on the turn of the half, there was usually always a gunner backing up that hot drone movement.
You need to have someone behind that drone, or at least in a position if you want to open up. Tyrant will still find a beautiful headshot onto Forrest, though. As before he tries to go for the chase, he will find the kill as well. Brings it back to equal. Shuttle was already downstairs to reply as well.
That's it. Iconic's in a bit of a scrap at the top around the side of Attic. Shuttle's pushing and pushing and pushing, and he's hoping he's gone unchecked here. Nello with the kit, if he gets caught out, could be devastating. He's got to make sure he gets the feed on this right player, but Shuttle, he's rotated, moved off towards the dining side. Iconic suffers a little bit more here as Solotov's got the drive through across the top line, and Iconic just slips away behind the side of the heart. He's not going too far out, but he's making sure that he's still a problem and a presence and a pressure to be known. A minute 13. This C4 is looking for that charisma. It's gone a couple steps further away. Neo starts to smash and grab down towards the kitchen side. Can't quite get the connection on the player who's drifted their way in towards meeting.
And with that C4 used, they only have 2 smoke canisters left. That's a good ping, by the way. To know where someone is used, you could just go for a wallbang attempt right here. Instead, waits for him to leave, and DP4 is allowed to live as well. That is a massive mistake coming out from MNM here, and you just see this kind of things. You have the information, it's just not being acted upon time and time again.
There it is. Users does find Iconic in the meantime. There's a fight up White Stairs. Nello gets one more, 30 seconds. That just leaves J90 and Shuttle to see if they can try and clutch this out. The grenade gets dropped, doesn't quite get the rock onto Shuttle. They're able to slip away, but the bullets sure almost do. Another near miss, 20 seconds. Users finds a second. They've just got to get that kit down. Users has one more there. May have missed the slip on the classroom, but learned a lesson, thankfully studied, and found another couple of players afterwards. 5-4. Both teams do still have their time out, but they just want to have this game keep it rolling, it seems.
They want to keep it rolling indeed, but I really will touch onto MNM there. You first see that drone, they know someone's in there, no one's able to be in a position to reply to it. It happens multiple times now. Then you have hot pings coming through, but no wallbang attempts, and of course, if you miss the wallbang, it's very likely you will get a return there. So, you know, you could hold the exit, you could try and pick up the kill that way. but you need to make sure you hit your shots. Luckily, MNM managed to turn it around. Luckily, MNM was able to just pull the trigger still and find themselves that response. But Astralis, they seem like a bit more of a team in the early game. There's always someone ready to strike from an alternate angle, so at least you're fighting it from two fronts at the same time. And yes, of course, at some point you do start to get isolated. At some point, MNM is able to get back into that round. And at some point, MNM is able to find these gunfights to go their way. But if Astralis continue to play like they have, especially in the early last round, where they got that first kill onto Tyrant, that is going to be when they are at their best. That is when MNM will be struggling.
5-4 still on the board. Astralis. They are so close to being able to pull some of their first guaranteed points of this tournament so far, and knowing they have Elevate later on, a fight that sort of rocked them and rolled them a little bit. They got to make sure they make every round count here in a game that, again, so close. MNM, they're still a step behind. Steady approach. Solotov suffers, I was going to say a little scrape, but it followed up by a much bigger one from a C4 underneath. Potentially. Or was it just impact explosives? There's a lot of those left and less instead. And everybody still has a C4, so it was impact hoid and thrown towards him. It's not going to entirely stop him, but it does hamper him.
Will definitely make him think more about the actions, about the kind of gunfights he will be heading into. By the way, 4 and 5. 2 minutes left on that clock. Astralis, all they need is to lock in this round and they find themselves with an opportunity to fight further down this major, further down to potentially make it towards those playoffs. Tyrant, though, is coming quite close. He's taking out some of the utility, but he needs to be careful of security. And also a white stairs player there. That grenade will take care of the very first shuttle taken out. And now he needs to focus himself onto security. But J9O already drops. He doesn't want to stick around.
Oh, well, there's DP5 finding Neo on the slip back round to the site. They're still keeping a bit of presence here. Iconic, he's got all of it. We've posted the Batman memes before, but do they know that he is lurking up there on the top, waiting patiently for that? A free kill onto Solotov, and that siren starts to blare. Wee woo, wee woo. Oh no, somebody's on the top floor far away. At this point, you try and focus the pressure, the time, and the energy to try and get that man out, or you see if you can instead trust that you can take the pressure onto the site itself. You know it's a 3 versus 3. You also know it's a 3 versus 1. You also know you only have a minute. You kind of just have to put a flying drone in place with the amount of time that's left. Leave him be, try and hit the side, and then struggle, or at least fight with him as soon as he comes in from the back, as soon as he does start to move towards you. But it seems like MNM want to go for a bit of an E-box push here. It might be risky. It could work out. The Candelas are being tossed in. The Execute is upon us. There it is, rolled all the way through. Not quite a catch there. A C4 pops. There's the player inside Freezer to your right behind Nello. Doesn't quite get the sight on them, but they're going to see if they can stick the plant. J9O gets a freebie, gets returned by Nello. Iconic is making his movement here, but with Tyrant the only one left, waiting for just that. He's not even going to throw himself entirely all the way into the site. Doesn't have to. The kit is cold. 20 seconds. There's a leg. There's a Ninja Tyrant. There's a fight either side. The 3 apiece. And, well, it doesn't get there. Astralis. They've guaranteed themselves a point. Can they make it 3?
Leg sticking out there due to the way that he leans. So allowing the hatch to find that kill. Or at least push him into a bit more of a fight. And yes, as you said, it is going to be that 4-6. And now a timeout to be called by MNM because they realize that it is now do or die for the rest of the tournament. If they lose this in this next round, it is more than likely to be over. If they manage to bring this back to OT, they can still win it. They can still pick up those 2 points. And yes, it is starting to look unlikely that they will survive here in Berlin. But there is a possibility. A possibility that's higher than just 4%. And that is what they will be fighting for.
Oh, it's tricky because there's these moments of quick reactions from the side of MNM. There's these moments where it seems like the comms and the clarity on where people are is so sharp. But then there's those big glaring sort of holes of an Astralis player slinking through. An Astralis player getting themselves into the position, whether it's T3, where we had Iconic, whether it's J9O, holding onto Freezer. The fact that they dove themselves so deep, it's not that I think they thought it was entirely clear, but maybe they thought they could be a bit more of a surprise factor, just running across the open sort of bow, the width of that site.
Yeah.
Sure, Nella got the kill almost instantly after, but it's still that sort of moment of where did they think the players were? Something we only really know if we're in the comms.
I think it's a bit, it's tricky, right? Because you know that there is someone above, someone who will be coming down upon you at any time, so you need to make as much ground as you can, as quickly as you can on the actual site. So I guess they hoped that someone was going to be deep in freezer, some other player was going to be in that cubby, and another in or near elbow. And then you need to make sure that you either clear the freezer player as quickly as possible, or you get past his line of sight as effectively as possible. Because if you go for the E-box hatch and you know someone is in big tower, you kind of have to just go for the other side. You need to make your way all the way through towards Laundry. They failed to do that. And with the Astralis finding themselves onto match point. Iconic again up in T3. Looking to find yet another free kill, maybe 2 free kills out there, hoping to not be challenged and shut down MNM his own way. There's an opportunity, of course. Grenade starting to come through. J9O rotating past. The grenade just not tossed in time. He goes aggressive, loses a bit of HP and gets wallbanged right afterwards. Tyrant takes his head clean off. It's a good start for MNM in a round that they need to win if they want to be pushing it to OT and pick up points themselves.
Tyrant has started to be a little bit sharper on these recent couple of rounds, taking some bodies and utilizing grenades well, which hasn't always been a big thing. Do they know a player's on the door? Oh, they just see him, Neo! Either side, there's the fight, and there goes one. Iconic has the cover from the top window. There isn't quite another response there from the side of MNM, but Forrest is gone. Maybe he expected his life to be forfeit sooner rather than later and just sort of played them onto the hand. Iconic is looking for the slip by onto Zulu, but they are already gone. DP Fire is looking for the same thing. 2 boats crouching. Only one of them can win, and Usus is the one that passes in the night. Finds it. Solotov gets one more. There's a fight on top of White Stairs. Iconic pulls back. There's the cooldown onto Pit. And there's the take onto the Pit player. The C4 is just able to get one more. Usus, here's this Iconic doing Iconic things. Sees the barrel, can't connect. MNM, they pull one back. They still need to get one more, though, to get to OT.
Saw the barrel, unfortunately Tyrant just a little bit quicker, and out of timeout will be called in by Astralis because they realize 3 points on the board in this round, and this round alone. And we will have FURIA and Elevate looking at this one, Emmy. And they are like, MNM, please win one more round because that's good for us, right? If they struggle, if they fight themselves, they are both losing ground upon the top 2 that is currently out there. And if both pick up points, that means that there is a bigger lead for those 2 teams that are yet to play. Now, MNM also having a talk, of course, their coach has the opportunity to discuss at the same time Astralis can.
Yeah.
If you call a tactical timeout, your opponent can use it as well. That's basically how you have to see it. Both coaches are unmuted. It's not just your own. And the fist bumps get given by the side of MNM. They know what they need to do. They have a task they need to complete. And of course, overtime is not ideal in terms of the situation both these teams are in. But a straight-up loss is way worse. And thus MNM will be fighting for it. They will be trying to get themselves up to 6-6 and see if they have to go all the way to either 14 or 15 to find themselves a victory. They will want it. They're hungry for it. The first day, definitely not one to write home about for neither of these 2 teams. And they both want to start it off with a victory. But a full 3 points is what both of these are looking for. And only Astralis can achieve it. Only Astralis has the opportunity to truly put up a fight for the top spots of this group now.
5 seconds to go.
MNM, 1 round time to talk, and what's the time, Solotov? Zip time. We've seen takes with pace, we've seen obviously a fair bit of Amaru in this game alone. It's not the most uncommon thing. Are they going to see if they can try and find a fight of a potential top 4 player? Baited the drone. Yep, there, pulled back and sort of played a guessing game of audio. It did get taken out afterwards, so now they don't know. Solotov wants to get a bit of a zip down there. They've stacked themselves, but Nello finds the first. Forrest is caught out. That could be a bit of a blow. The mute on the rotate. DP Fire is going to try and rotate more aggressively in. Takes a bit of damage just as they're dropping the soft. There's a swing round. There's so many players stacked up in this environment.
Where's the drones? There's no drones coming out, it's just an E1D. And they're starting to push right behind it. They have no clue. DP Fire comes in, fully flashed out twice. Well done by MNM. Tyrant will find that kill, and suddenly it's going to be a 3-on-5 situation. Iconic is still in the tower, Remy. Not really near the site, but might find himself into a gunfight soon.
MNM, they've been able to find the opening 2 kills here, and without a response this time, Astralis, they're sort of trying to weigh up just where this pressure's coming from, seemingly. A lot of different places at once. Iconic is keeping the lockdown on the stairs on the far side. And now they're going to see if they can try and at least get a steady approach from the side of White and Shower. There it is. Lock the man out. Oh, no, don't.
It's a bait.
Maybe, yeah, just see if they can hold off the spot. Users is setting up a flank drone, so it seems like they don't even want to put the pressure onto that side. Instead, get underneath.
I mean, there's no need to put the pressure down there, right? Because if they manage to take the site from White, if they do manage to take it from the big window, Iconic needs to come back from the attic to try and head towards the site. Now, he has closed up attic, so they want to make sure that no attacker that might be left there is going to be able to do anything with it. And they are starting to hit it from the normal directions. They want to go up White, they want to go in from the bedroom here, and you see these attackers slowly starting to take that position, but there's still a shield, there's still a mirror window, and those will be problematic.
That's it. Trophy becomes a real tricky spot to just try and drive through. Tyrants with a grenade underneath does a little bit, but not enough to Iconic. He's able to keep himself steady going. About a minute's passed since our last engagement, since our last kill, and MNM have been able to slowly creep towards the chance of it close down, but the stop out on the top of White Stairs means things might get a little bit trickier. Stacked on the double window, this is going to be a 3-2-1 go moment. You got to make sure you have an awareness on the site. There's the pop, the grenades, the damage, and they're in. Round on the backside, going to see if they can get the plant down. The smoke gets caught out. They've gone for the rotate round on the backside. There's Tyrant getting shuttle on the swing. The C4 doesn't quite make the full connection. It's a post plant. Iconic and J90 retaking the side. Tyrant goes down. Solotov with the swing is able to get the lockout. It's just down to Iconic. Locked and loaded, looking towards the back of the dorms, gets the first. They have themselves control of the attic, but they don't have control of the round. We are going to OT.
We're going up towards at least 14 rounds, potentially 15 here, Emmy, and both these teams will be confirming themselves at least a point. And now the fight is on for that second point. In the next 3 rounds, we will decide who is going to be awarded that point. Whoever wins 2 out of the next 3. But we have to highlight it. It is not the ideal scenario for either of these 2 teams, especially Astralis, who had a couple of match points to go by.
No, it's not.
Losing out on it. FURIA and Elevate, they are both smiling right now. They love it that this game has gone to OT because it removes pressure from them. It removes pressure for them to perform in that next game. And with that, Astralis start off on the defense.
Laundry is where they're opting to go, a site that across both their attack and their defense has been massively in their favor. In fact, the 5 times we've seen it, it's only gone away from them once on their attack. If MNM can do the damage here, if MNM can pull this round, it puts them in such a good position to lock it out. Not only because they've taken what is statistically for them the least likely site that we've seen to take, but then it puts them in that mindset of we can just lock this out. Still 2 points is possible. And in the difference of what they need, just a drop, please, of water and precious points to be able to carry them through the desert that is the D group at the bottom of it.
Every point will help at this point. MNM, how are they going to be approaching this attack? Now, we see some top 4 pressure to come down. MNM out there with Solotov, with Nello as well. Repel starting to come in, drones as well, leading the way. They're trying to figure out if there's any utility, if there's any players out there. And of course, Iconic and DP are. We have Shuttle and J90 playing on that first floor. There's multiple layers to this defense currently, and just the bottom one, the one that matters, only has a single player in it. It's currently not being realized by MNM though, as they do want to take out these multiple different layers. The grenades come around the corner, won't be able to hit anything. A stray bullet does hit DP Fire though.
Oh, that's it. It's a rotate on the far side. E1D pops off, and so does J90. Finds users for the first time in a while, it feels like. Astralis have been able to get that opener, that early hand and that early pick. Solotov is caught chasing a bit of a ghost here on the far side, and Forest is showing Ghost to Tyrant. Sends it to the afterlife and gets the swing round onto the top of Freezer Stairs. Oh, it's a tricky drop that they're opting and angling to take themselves, but the players already slipped by, blinded with the Candelas that moved in far and afterwards. But otherwise, the pressure comes through. They've entirely pulled themselves back to site. Fair enough. A minute 20 left. You're in a 5 versus 3. You want to make sure that you have the positions to trade the pressure. Ooh, is on MNM. A heck of a take from Solotov round into the back line. They've got 1. Just another 4 to go.
Just another 4 to go. Some utility being taken out by the Twitch drones here. You see some of the Vulcan canisters to be removed, a proximity alarm as well, and it will eye up a possibility to go for an actual take through the laundry. Smoke canisters are being tossed in, but won't be able to smoke off at least every single thing they wanted to. Shuttle going quite aggressive, but Nello already all the way through on the freezer side.
Clever bit of movement there from Nello. Went behind it there on the default plant, and Neo finds a grenade onto 1. Do they know how close the swing is of that player just tucked around where Shuttle is? Could be massive. A bit of a dead heat and a dead bit of movement here. They have some of the control, but remember, Nello's the one with the kit. And he does not have a smooth route back. That's the risk of him getting into such an aggressive position. They know Freezer Door is ready to be watched, and they don't have pillar control, so they can't make the movement. It's not like Neo can stick it. The pressure is still on MNM here. They've got to move past the dead heat, and Solotov's got his slip through. There's the kit cold. They've now got to go for the 2 versus 2, push right round onto the fire itself. The firefight is coming out. DP fire round on the back of blue. There's Shutter with the shotgun for 1. There's the second! Astralis once again sitting on game point.
They bring it back towards another match point for themselves, but MNM, they made it quite close. They were able to fight back, even though it was their 5v3 on site. And with that, there is hope. There is opportunity. They're starting to grow into it. Just, are they going to be able to find 2 in a row now? They head over to the defense next. Laundry supply again to be called out. MNM want to bring it back to 7-7 here. They want to make sure that this goes all the way to 15. And as they will be facing Astralis, there is that one crucial thing they need to pay attention to. It is the quick hot droning that they managed to be so successful with. 2 out of the 3 attacking rounds Astralis won were on the back of a very early entry that was happening in the first 25 seconds. Suddenly, the meeting under control of Astralis. Suddenly the hatch that you open up, well, they can use that now to start putting pressure onto the site. You need to make sure that that doesn't happen again. You need to stop them dead in their tracks. You need to fight them before they enter the building. And of course, it is going to be difficult. That's unfortunate. Shotgun blast is going to be hitting 1 of the Goyo canisters, unfortunately from Solotov. So that is 1 piece of utility less they can use. But to get back into it, you need to make sure that J90, who is currently spawning one of these players on his drone, is not allowed to have that early entry within 25 seconds, either in the kitchen or the meeting or anywhere else on the 1st or 2nd floor.
Astralis, so close once again, and that's when things, I'm not going to say fell apart, but you started to see a little bit of not quite the energy that we've had. And that's, I guess, the tie around. Because if we throw ourselves all the way back to the beginning, Astralis' attack, it was sharp, it was aggressive, even the rounds that went against them. DP Fire, he's going to head his way up to the top. They've got the double stack of Tyrant and users keeping some attention, but the drone game has never really been in question from the lockdown here. They're calling, they're poking, they're prodding, and they're prying themselves towards the take onto T2, T3. Look how many of them are getting stacked up and ready. Although, they are sort of opting it.
It's a big bit of a quick check coming through, but a drone passed by, so users thought he had been spotted. Sends some shots down through the actual wall and then decides to fall back. Doesn't want to stick around longer than he's welcome for. They don't want to lose those early entries, as that was the key to them losing their defensive rounds. And if you look at it now, 1 minute, 15 seconds gone. They haven't lost a single person yet on the side of MNM. That is great. That is good. That's what they need to hold on to. And they're all back at the site now. It will be a 5-5 scuffle.
It does. It puts us in a position now where, for the first time, maybe the MNM plan has worked. Whether they wanted to hold on a bit longer or not, they're all still alive. And as you said, the Astralis were very good at making sure that wasn't the case before. The pressure starts to come down from Freezer. They're looking down onto, obviously, E-Box and the hatched stealth. Still some canisters, still some holds, still some ideas and impressions. But otherwise, Astralis, they're doing what is the slowest take we've seen from them so far. It's cautious. And it has to be paid that way. They know the guns of Astralis and MNM are both pretty equal at some moments. Forrest takes the drop onto Pillar. Iconic suffers on the far side, but wins it out onto Laundry in the bottom right corner as they take the top left too. It's a drive through. Forrest is still standing with the kit. They lose the player onto the side of blue. It's all down to Tyrant. on the top of the hatch. He's going for the drop. Do they know where the player is? There's the catch onto one. They'll have the call of location, and Forrest is just going to stick this plant. The cover comes through. The hot pings. They've got the swing round. It's covered! It's Astralis!
Astralis able to pick up the 2 points here that they did need and also deserved. They were a slightly better team than MNM throughout this game so far. And with that, they continue to fight for their chase to the top spots, of course, of this group. But because it went to overtime, it's going to be slightly harder. Suddenly, it is going to be an even harder fight than it was at the start of the day because they really needed those 3 points. We said it before, but they're in it, and that's most important.
We'll throw it to a quick break before we're back with the desk to break it down.